welcome back. Today I'm going to talk about Caught Stealing, which is a new Darren Aaronofsky film. It's just been released in the cinemas, and probably not for very long, because when I went to see it there wasn't many people there, and it just feels like it's a kind of medium budget film that will do decently in the cinema and then get most of his viewership on like streaming later on, which is a shame because it is a good film, but it's also a film like, you know why people aren't going to see in the cinema. It doesn't have the epic feel, and it is basically a crime story, which those kinds of stories have kind of gradually moved to TV. Good and bad. Most people, when you see a crime story, they think TV. If it involves cops, they think TV. If it involves criminals, they think TV. Unless it's a criminal blowing up the world, they think TV. And so this film, even though it's very dynamic and it has a lot of interesting elements to it, which makes it not TV, its plot could be done on TV. So there is that kind of weird thing, is like, and most people will probably wait for TV to see it. So that's a shame, because it is a unique experience. I don't think it's not for everybody. I mean, it's one of those films that is it's a bit odd. It's a character-based crime drama, but also has some eccentric supporting characters. So a lot of people would see the poster and the trailer and think it's a Tarantino ripoff. It's not. It doesn't feel very Tarantino at all. It's a crime story with eccentric characters, but it's got a kind of much more normal leading man in a Tarantino film, and the dialogue's not as forced as you get in a Tarantino film, in a sense of, we're going to stop the scene for like 5 pages of dialogue. This one is much more compressed. There's dialogue scenes when there need to be dialogue scenes, but they don't go on much longer than a normal film would have them. Is what I'm trying to say with the Tarantino comparison. It's just a different style of dialogue and different style of directing and acting. So it is, but it also isn't very TV-like in just the visuals. It does feel like they've spent some money here. They've actually spent some money so that when there's a chase scene, the chase scene's exciting and isn't just a couple of streets, and that's it, a couple of backlog streets and that's it. It feels a lot like like Aronofsky's been watching a lot of Asian films, and it's gone for that kind of Asian feel where it's like you've got like a crime story, a street story, and it goes in weird angles, and you don't quite know where it's going to go, even though you've got pointers to where it's going, and your lead character can behave very flawed. It does feel very kind of Asian influenced, which doesn't really help with the advertising of it, because in most American films, crime stories have become codified into being, a certain way and been put on TV. Which is why if I watch a crime film, I'd rather watch an Asian crime film. Because they're better. They do interesting things in the Asian crime films that American films are too lazy to do usually. This film tries to go in that direction though. It's just like, it's way too late commercially to do that. It's like the genre has been hijacked by the kind of the more mediocre. So the film follows a guy played by Austin Butler, who's the next big thing in cinema because he was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He was in he played Elvis. He was in Dune Part 2. I think The Bike Riders was the name of the film he did with Tom Hardy and Jodie Comer. So he's done a lot of stuff, and he's getting all the kind of acclaim, and he is a good actor. That's the thing, he actually can act, and he has a good screen presence to him. So it's like that thing of, this is a film where he can show his chops a bit more. It's one of those films. It's not a massive budget film, so it probably gets his money back fairly easily. So no one's losing out. I mean, Aronofsky's made a bunch of films, some have not, but like no one's going to lose a shot, but no one's going to say, "Oh, this is my best ever film." It's that kind of small film people do once in a while. It's fun, it's enjoyable, but it's not going to redefine your career. So he plays this guy who's but for actors it's good because they can work in their craft and actually get to do interesting characters. So Butler plays this guy who was meant to be one of the next big things in baseball, but he drunk drove and had a crash, and he accidentally killed one of his friends. So 10 years later, his knee's busted. He's drinking himself to death. He works in a bar, so it makes it easier to drink himself to death. And he's got a girlfriend who's a paramedic, and she's trying to get him off the booze a little bit, and just trying not to nag him or anything, just to try and get him to a more healthy life and be less defined by baseball. And because he still talks to his mum every day, and she's a baseball fan, she was the one who pushed him into baseball. So he's still living in the past. He's still living in what could have been, what should have been, and he's not really moved forward. So that's where you start the character. But the character's decent though. He's a nice guy, so it's not like you're watching someone who's downbeat all the time. It's just that he's a guy with demons, but he's not trying to put it off on other people. He's still trying to have a good time. But you can tell early on he's drinking way too much. And his neighbour, played by Matt Smith, is a British punk, who asks him to look after his cat because his dad's had a stroke, he has to go back home and deal with that. So, when Matt Smith's gone, Butler gets attacked by people looking for Smith, who are trying to find the money, who they think Smith's stolen. They beat him up so much he ends up in hospital and he's lost a kidney. So that's the first big thing, is the violence here is pretty brutal. I mean, people get really jacked up and horrible things happen to them. So from then on, whenever there's a violent act potential, you know they're not messing around. Someone could get badly injured because they've readily absolutely tortured your leading man instantly. So it's like, well, they mean business, and a lot of people die in this film. So essentially, after that, he's dealing with a policewoman who's trying to investigate what's going on. The two criminals who attacked him are still focusing on him. They've also got another guy who's above them, played by Bad Bunny, the singer, who's actually good in this. And there's also these two Hasidic Jewish guys who are gangsters, played by Liev Schreiber and Vincent D'Onofrio, who are also after the money. So it's trying to mix. He's trying to stay ahead of all these different parties who are interested in the money. He doesn't know where the money came from, what it's about, where it is even. It's just that they all think he knows and he doesn't know. Just have to put together what's going on while staying alive. Eventually Smith comes back and you start to find out what's actually going on, and the plot keeps moving from there. And it is a nice little film. Again, you've probably heard the description. It's like, yeah, it's a noir film, I've seen this before. And you have, kinda, but it's done well. The characters are all nice. Zoe Kravitz is the girlfriend, she's good. Playing someone who could be naggy but isn't. It's just like, what the hell's the matter with you? Austin Butler plays a guy as someone who is actually fairly decent, but he is self-destructive. But he's not trying to put it on anyone else. He's like, I'm dealing with my problems. And he tries to be decent to other people. All the other guys, to the villains, are all interesting, selfish. You know, the actors having a ball, playing the characters. The police are torturing Butler and they're having fun with those scenes. And it's just a really well put together film. Again, I'm trying to avoid getting into detail the second half because it's a new film. You can probably figure some of it out just by the trailer, but I'm not going to say what they are. But the thing is, it's just like, it's one of those films that come out and a certain part of the year, which is running about now, like August, September, and they never do amazingly well, but it's always like an actor who's had success, who's getting to do a film they want to do, and it's a medium budget film, and usually with a director who's, has done other films that are probably more daring. But it's nice to have these kind of films made. It's the big problem for these kind of films is most cinemas are really expensive, and it's hard to justify going to see a film that looks like something that's on TV. If cinemas were less expensive, you can actually justify it easier. But if you're having to pay the money for like a blockbuster type money for a film that is not a blockbuster type film, that puts a lot of people off. This is the kind of film that people have an unlimited card, that's when they would use an unlimited card to go and see this film. It's that kind of movie. And it's a shame. I mean, it'll play well in the urban areas, and then everywhere else it was like, I can't afford to see that film, I'll wait till Netflix. It's just, that's the kind of film it is. Netflix has killed that kind of film in some ways, because they don't make those kind of films, they just show them. But also, mostly, it's like TV dramas have killed, and the ticket prices. Because if ticket prices were lower, people would be much easier to go to see these films. I mean, earlier in the year, you had Black Bag, which is another film, probably cost about the same amount as this one, that did okay, but not amazing. And I saw it in my local, but I was lucky, because it just came out there. But most of the time, those films don't come out, and it was a good film, but it was, most people are going to see it on like Netflix, really. That's just the shame of it. And it's like, and Netflix aren't making those films, they just buy them in and show them. So no one's financing those films. The people who finance those films are probably losing out in those films. So it's a budget model, the industry's moved on, but those are the kind of films that used to be healthy and keep the industry going. And now they're pretty much gone, and that's a real shame. So this is definitely worth seeing. If you like that kind of noir, modern noir film, that's not as excessive as a Tarantino film. It's a bit more influenced by Hong Kong films. You're going to have a good time with this one. It's an enjoyable film. It's well acted, it's well directed. There's nothing there that's going to absolutely blow you away, but it's just well done. That's just what's nice about it. It's just like, I know this kind of film, it's well done, it's everything, everyone's doing their job, and I would happily rewatch it. It's just one of those nice films, but I'll definitely get it when it comes on digital and just buy it so I can watch it every so often. It's just a nice little film. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you later, but go see it. Bye.